Plus, Father, could you tell us a story about Elder Ephraim before we leave? Put me on the spot here. Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't want to speak from somebody else's experience. I might not interpret it well. So I'll just speak from my own experience. I've told that story many times. I won't say that. I mean, when I first met him and what impression he made on me. Over the years when I was coming to see him from 1994 until his repose in 2019. So what is that? 15 years? Or no, what am I talking about? 25 years, right? I saw him, I don't know how many times, maybe a couple dozen, I don't remember. I saw him on Mount Athos, saw him in America many times, but he was always very supportive of the work that we were doing. And I'll just say that. I'll just say the experience I had from when I came to him. I don't remember the year, maybe 2008 or 9. I don't remember. But it was at the height when we were working on the Confession of Faith Against Ecumenism, and it was a very important text and a very successful text. I think it was several, like 40,000 people. I don't remember the number. It was a massive amount of numbers signed it all around the Orthodox world. And there were dozens of bishops and hundreds of priests and monks. And it was a very important document at the time to express the faith with regard to the heresy of ecumenism. And I think it was about this time, but maybe sometime after that. But I came to him and I said, I want to come to America. I want to come back. I had already been a couple of times talking to him about this. And he said, no, you need to stay in Greece. You need to continue the work you're doing. Close to Father George Metellinos, close to the Athonite fathers. Stay there and, continue to confess the faith. And he called all these fathers Tagma Crucios in Greek. Tagma Crucios, which is like the front lines or the Green Berets, is how we might say it in English. And I was always, extremely grateful to God to have his blessing for this work, because it's a difficult work. You receive a lot of abuse and a lot of accusations and rejection and all the rest. And so if you don't have the prayers of a saint and you don't have the encouragement of a saint, you can waver and start to doubt, what's the point? I mean, that's what I've seen in any case over the years of others who are standing up and speaking out about things. Occasionally, they get pulverized by the world. And so, contrary to what others have said, he was always very supportive. And I think it's very important because, the royal path, we have to stay on the royal path. We have to stay on the royal path of humble but dogged confession of the faith and love, patience, and humility in the church, and walk that tightrope. And that tightrope is very hard to walk. And so his support over the years was crucial for me and for, I'm sure, a lot of other people. But there's many things we could say. The book's coming out here in a few months, Endless Miracles. I could tell you what some of the things that have been written in the book, but it would spoil the book. So a few months more and you'll have the 2-volume Life of the Saint, Elder Ephraim. You'll have some of his writings and miracles about that it were performed. Many people and their witnesses about the miracles that were performed. And then all the pictures. That'll be coming out, I think, maybe February. And you can read for yourself what a miraculous and marvelous and wondrous life he led, and how much he struggled for the sake of the brethren, and how much he suffered. People don't realize how much he suffered at the hands of ecclesiastical men who were not honorable and not supportive. And he suffered from the demons, beat him up in the middle of the night, and he suffered from gossip, and he went through a period where he was betrayed by brothers on Mount Athos, and they thought that he had fallen into delusion. And there's a lot. Oh, there's so much in the life people don't know about. And his patience and his perseverance is unbelievable for these monasteries to be started in the United States, and all the ones that were started in Greece and maintained in Greece. Unprecedented life in terms of that, like the monastery building he did. It's hard to, there's no comparison in the history of the church. There's no comparison to Elder Ephraim. Just the sheer amount of monasteries and monks and nuns that dedicated their life to Christ because of his example, his teachings, and his inspiration. Thousands, probably, at the end of the day. I don't know the number, but I mean, we're talking about 30 monasteries or something. And what does it come to altogether? If we count them all up, like 19 in the United States, 7 or 8 in Greece, I think. So we're almost at 30. And each monastery, it probably averages 30. I don't know, I'm just guessing. So what is that? 1,000? Around 1,000. 30 times 30. Yeah, 900. So anyway, but how many tens of thousands of spiritual children, priests? This is the way the Lord works and brings regeneration and true transfiguration to his people when they're, on the verge of apostasy or in delusion. It's through the suffering, the carrying of the cross, the confession of the faith, the absolute amazing sacrifice and love of his servants, that then he works through them and brings the church. I shudder to think, if he had not come to the United States, what would have happened to the Greek Archdiocese? It's hard to imagine, just because there was no monastic life, right? And there was no narrow path and no examples. For the most part, there are always a few, here and there, but for the most part, it was very small, very limited. And so that whole worldly spirit was massive, massively affecting the Greek Orthodox in America. So in any case, that's some thoughts about Elder Ephraim.